Now y'all knew Steve Kerr couldn't help himself. He couldn't wait, bruh. Apparently, the Warriors plan on starting Dennis Schroeder at shooting guard next to Steph Curry. Let's talk about it. That boy Steve Kerr loves his two-guard lineups. Nah, but in all seriousness, before we get to the main topic of the video, y'all bear with me, because Mike Dunleavy just released a presser. He shared his thoughts with the media on the Dennis Schroeder trade. So let's see what he said. And by the way, this is me paraphrasing, so if you want to see his full quotes, you can check out the video yourself. Money Mike said it was obvious after the Melton injury that they had to shore up the backcourt. He felt like this wasn't something that could wait until February. Look, man, Golden State's 2-8 in their last 10 games. They more than likely would have got buried in the standings if they decided to wait until February to make this trade. So I agree with Money Mike. Obviously that Melton injury was huge, and the hope that they can cover the Melton injury in-house didn't work out. Money Mike said another ball handler benefits not just Steph, but Paz as well. And he's right. Paz was at his best last season playing with two ball handlers, Steph Curry and Chris Paul. The biggest difference between this season and last season in terms of Paz play is that Paz has a lot more responsibility on ball, and he hasn't handled it well. Last season, he had two veteran ball handlers to lean on, and coincidentally, two of the greatest point guards of all time. I think it's safe to say Paz isn't a pure point guard. He's more of a shooting guard than anything. Now, is he capable of being a ball handler in stretches? I think so, but as of now, in my eyes, he's obviously a shooting guard. Reducing his ball handling responsibilities is a good idea. Schroeder's pretty steady with the ball, averaging 6.5 assists a game to 2.5 turnovers. Now with this trade, Steph and Paz will always have another ball handler on the court at all times. Having another ball handler next to Steph is key. Number one, it takes pressure off Steph offensively to create everything. Steph is the Warriors' entire offense, and that's just not fair to a 36-year-old point guard. Dunleavy believes Schroeder's ability to play pick and roll brings an added dimension offensively that they needed. I agree, the Warriors' motion offense can get extremely stale at times. And besides last game against the Mavericks, the Warriors' offense has looked atrocious as of late. They're struggling to score, especially in late game situations. Dennis Schroeder should help with that.
Acquisition of Schroeder was meant to kind of answer that. What was your reaction to that, and how do you think he's going to fit with you guys?
I don't think he was necessarily brought here to fit. We play a certain style of basketball that he does not really play. And I don't think the goal is to get him to play the style of basketball that we play. We need someone that can do the things that he does. And so I'm looking forward to us adjusting to him. Not necessarily, he'll have to adjust to some things, and he's a pro, he understands that. But we have to adjust to him because he's bringing something that this team needs. To just think or make him fall in line of what we do, we wasting our time and even bring him here. Because we need somebody that can do what we necessarily don't do. And I think that's what he'll be for us.
His ability to get to the rim and generate rim pressure consistently is something this Warriors offense is in desperate need of. That takes a lot of the burden off of Steph, because Steph is still the Warriors' best player at getting to the rim. In a perfect world, you hope it's Kuminga, but he's just not as consistent as you want him to be doing that. And that just takes more of a physical toll on Steph, because if you notice, whenever he gets to the rim, he always hits the floor. So having Schroeder to alleviate that burden hopefully means less Steph driving to the rim and getting hit. Dunleavy said he feels good about the team defensively, so now adding a shot-creating ball handler that can generate offense would be a huge boost. On top of that, Dennis is an asset defensively. He fits perfectly into the defensive scheme. He's going to be a pest, he's going to pick up 94 feet, he's going to be a disruptor, he's great at navigating screens, and Mike Dunleavy considers him a pretty good off-ball defender. Between Wiggins and Schroeder, you have two good to really good point-of-attack defenders, and you still have GP2 as an option off the bench. Another benefit of Schroeder playing next to Steph. Dennis is probably more capable than anybody else on the team to capitalizing off of Steph's advantages created. He has one of the best first steps in the league, so if he catches the ball in rotation against a shifting defense, just think about that. Schroeder attacking a closeout with an advantage. He's getting straight to the rim, bro, and it's either going to be a layup or a kick out for a three. You combine that with the fact that he's a 39% three-point shooter this season. Teams can't help off of him to load up on Steph. So he's an asset next to Steph offensively in terms of a shot creator, taking the load off of Steph. Defensively in terms of taking a tougher defensive assignment, which by the way should save Steph's legs and allow him to close games with more energy. So honestly, I could see why the Warriors want to start Schroeder. He's one of the Warriors' best 5 players, so he's going to play a lot next to Steph regardless. If you pencil in Steph for 30 minutes a game and Schroeder for around 27 and 30 minutes a game, there's only so much you can stagger them. They're going to play a lot, and they're definitely going to close a lot of games together. So I can understand the thinking of why not just start them together. Let's just think about the options to start a shooting guard. Buddy Hield, Paz, and Schroeder. Is Schroeder any worse of a defender than any of those two? Buddy has more size for sure, but Schroeder's easily the better defender. I'd rather see Schroeder defensively next to Steph than Buddy. And then you got Paz or Schroeder. Who's a better defender? I would put Paz right around average. He does compete defensively, and his pick and roll defense is actually really good, but he's having a lot of mental lapses this season helping off ball, leaving shooters wide open in the corner. Schroeder's going to be pesky and execute the game plan. So if you look at the defensive options, even though a Steph Schroeder backcourt is kind of small, they're no worse off defensively than starting Buddy Hield or Paz there. It's not like last season where it was Steph playing next to Chris Paul. Even though they're both small, there's a huge difference between Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder defensively. Schroeder has that lateral quickness, wingspan, and athleticism to hold up defensively at a level that 40-year-old Chris Paul never could. It's not even a comparison. But anyways, here's what Steph Curry had to say about Dennis Schroeder. Excited to see him plug in. Guy I could probably play with in the backcourt, can handle a lot of ball handling responsibilities when I'm off the court, and gives us another guy that can attack a defense. Should be a seamless transition. I think Steph has a pretty good idea of what type of players are fit next to him, and it sounds like he thinks Schroeder would be a great fit.
I just love his competitive nature. Like, he has And he got that dog in him, and you can kind of tell he doesn't talk that much, but he's very animated, and I've never not seen him in the moment, like trying to, rip your head off type vibe, so I like that.
Lastly, let's dive into the projected depth chart. So obviously we got Steph, Schroeder, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Looney. The second unit is Pods, Buddy, GP2, Draymond, and TJD. A couple quick notes. Number one, Draymond coming off the bench should not be a thing for too much longer. Look, bro, at the end of the day, Draymond's the Warriors' second best player. Easily. Your second best player should not be coming off the bench. But the only reason he has to is because the Warriors have to accommodate Kuminga, which is a huge roster construction problem. Because if you have to accommodate your fourth best player by benching your second best player, that's a problem, bro. Look at last game against the Mavericks, for example. They were unstoppable. They started the game, 9 for 9, 9 for 11, something like that. I don't got the stats in front of me, but it was something crazy. The Warriors looked soft defensively, and that's because they didn't have the defensive backbone in the lineup to start the game. You need Draymond in the starting lineup to establish yourself defensively. To set a tone early, the Warriors played soft, and the Mavs got whatever they wanted. Luka could have missed. He was playing real life 2K, bruh. Wiggins got destroyed, but it's honestly not even his fault. The way Luka was playing, with the shots he was hitting, it didn't matter who was guarding him, bro. Them shots were going down no matter what. He was on one, bruh. He was gonna cook anybody else in front of him. But at least having Draymond in the starting lineup as a linebacker of the defense, as your backbone, as your help defender, as your defensive communicator, all those things make a difference. So maybe if Draymond's in there to start the game, maybe Luka misses 2 or 3 of those shots he made, and maybe that leads to him not being as hot throughout the game. If you give a talented offensive team confidence to start the game, it's hard to stop him, bro. So by the time Draymond checked in, the Mavs were already feeling themselves offensively.
Defense. I'm not sure what the best way to process it is, but the answer to the problem is defense.
Did you see that from the get-go when they arrived at 46 first quarter points?
Yeah. I think they scored the first 9, 11 possessions, something like that. You gotta set a tone. And that's the tone you set. It's a good team. The team went to the Western Conference Finals, or finals.
The finals.
So you set that tone. It's hard to stop a team. You can do that against the bum teams. But you set that tone against a great team, you're going to have a hard time catching up.
To follow up on that, the tone, you set a defensive tone. You're not starting at the moment. What are you watching when you see them sort of rattle off those points from the bench?
Just no force.
So yeah, man, the Warriors got to do something about the front court. Draymond has to be in the starting lineup. So that means either Looney or Kuminga goes back to the bench. But I'm pretty sure the Warriors don't want to take Kuminga out of the starting lineup because they're trying to showcase him for a trade. They're trying to keep his value as high as possible. But in the meantime, you might drop some games in the process not starting Draymond. So it's a very interesting situation. Also, it looks like Anderson's in Kurt's doghouse. I thought he's going to be playing a lot more this season. So that's another interesting storyline as well. He might be trade fodder. In terms of these mid-tier contracts needed for salary filler, out of Kyle Anderson, Looney, Buddy Hield, GP2, I think out of those 4, the Warriors will be most willing to give up Kyle Anderson, just based off the fact that Kurt doesn't play him. But anyways, man, that's all I got for y'all. If I entertained you or you learned something new, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Also, I launched my channel's membership. So if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. And follow me on Instagram too. But anyways, I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.